Welcome to today's session where we'll explore the possibility for EVs to turn homes into energy hubs and save consumer money at the same time. We here at Schneider take sustainability very seriously, and we hope you all here today can learn a little bit more about how to be sustainable at home. I am Rachel, and I will be your moderator for today. Joining me is Tom Bowen, President of Qmerit Solutions. Tom, can you tell us a little bit more about Qmerit?
Sure. Thanks, Rachel. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And so, Qmerit partners with Schneider, and we are North America's largest provider of distributed workforce management. So we are connecting our stakeholders, which tend to be technology providers or OEMs, like this vehicle that we have here. We are connecting them with homeowners and building owners so they can complete their electrification journey.
Thank you, Tom. We here at Schneider are grateful to be able to partner with Qmerit and our other portfolio companies to help our customers on their electrification journey. So we're here at EVS, right? We want to talk about electric vehicles. How
Sure.
have you seen the increase in electric vehicles sales?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and we can talk a little bit about that, Rachel, but clearly what we're seeing is an uptick in the volume of EV vehicles. And so if you look at Bloomberg studies, you'll see that in the last 3 years, that volume has gone from roughly 10 to 20 million. We suspect that by 2025, nearly 25% of all new vehicle sales will be electric vehicles.
It's truly amazing how fast it's grown and how fast
Absolutely.
it continues to grow.
Yeah.
What do you think's driving this growth?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons for the growth as we look and see it. First is that technology continues to expand. So range continues to expand, and we see that eliminates some of the range anxiety. We're also seeing a much broader volume of models that are coming out and hitting the market, and those are at very different price points. So that's allowing accessibility of these vehicles to a number of different folks. Some states are starting to pass regulations that will mandate that and are driving certain buyers towards that. But there's also very aggressive incentives in place. Those will come through tax incentives, utility incentives. There's a lot of financial drivers. And the last, I don't know if you've seen them, but these vehicles are just cool.
They
If
are.
you've driven them, they're very fun to drive. Performance is outstanding, and we see that's just really driving the interest in those.
They are definitely cool, and I think 5 years ago when I looked for my last car, EVs weren't on the list, and
Yeah.
now as I look for mine today, right, they're all on the top.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to hear about what you're interested to see in the new EV technologies.
Yeah, so one of the things that excites me about EVs is it just allows individuals to have a basic impact on their own carbon footprint based on the procurement that they're doing. And it ties it to something we're passionate about, which is vehicles from that standpoint. I really like the advancement of use of data in the technology as we look at data coming from the vehicles, from the chargers themselves, even the utility data. And then what that's doing is just continue to inform on energy usage, how we use the vehicles. And so as that technology advances, it becomes very interesting to see what direction that will go in. And then finally, the impact of EV on energy consumption is really a driver. I've been passionate about the reduction of energy in my entire career, and seeing how EVs can impact this is really exciting.
I'm glad you mentioned energy consumption. So we here at Schneider obviously know a lot about that, but can you talk about some of the implications EVs have on energy consumption, and what are some potential implications of that?
Yeah, and so when we look at the impact of EVs, really the impact becomes in sort of our traditional energy sources. And so EVs will be driving electrical usage, which is a clean power source, clean energy source. That does have implications, though, as we are using much more electricity, right? And as that advances, it could do things as simple as changing the demand times. So traditionally, demand is in the afternoon, early evenings. Influx of EVs, which could be very good for the use of demand or the demand times, will drive towards later hours, lower energy usage. Charging at work could change those demand and shift demand towards earlier in the morning as these cars are charging and being able to do. Overall, it will require additional infrastructure for these, and we'll see cost for that. There are implications that investments, you'll see those with the federal activity, but these investments are going to continue to need to be made.
Of course, and some of this infrastructure upgrades can be quite costly. So what cost savings can someone see who upgrades their infrastructure?
I think what we're seeing now is a combination of offset of the initial costs as well as ongoing costs for these type of infrastructures. So whether you're upgrading your home or your business, you're seeing the opportunity to take advantage of things like tax credits, and those continue. But there's aggressive incentives that are coming through grant programs, NEVI programs, even the utilities that are offsetting those initial costs. Some utility programs they refer to as make-ready programs, those will offset the entire infrastructure cost required to put in that EV charging. We're also seeing ongoing incentives that are starting to drive. So once you've had and made that investment, you can opt into different programs. On the residential side, there's managed charging programs that will provide you incentives as you charge your vehicle. And on the commercial side, there's load management programs that will allow you to continue to receive financial benefit through the utilities based on how you use that charging infrastructure.
Awesome. So looking at innovating in this space, what challenges do you see?
You know, the number one challenge we continue to see is still range anxiety, and it's the customer's perception of utilization of those vehicles. And so the idea, we continue at Chimera to believe that the majority of charging will take place at home, that the drivers will want to continue to utilize that. But as the influx of vehicles hit the market, there'll be need for more public charging from that. And so that still is what we see as the single biggest friction point, is that range anxiety. The other piece, which we are adamantly committed to supporting, is access to labor. And so as infrastructure comes in, a significant amount of work is required to complete that electrical work. And there just is a shortage of electrical labor. So a big commitment that we've made to that market and those contractors is workforce development and ways to continue to grow, change the perception of labor and trades, and drive the increase in there.
Awesome. So let's turn our attention to integrating EVs into the home. So what factors should your homeowner consider when installing an EV charger at home?
Yeah, I think the biggest is, and we see a lot of studies that drive regarding the electrical infrastructure. And so EVs will use a lot of energy, and so are a lot of electricity. And many of the homes in the United States don't have the panel capacity. So the number one thing that they have to factor in is, what does my individual residential infrastructure look like? Do I have the panel capacity to upgrade for that charging at a level 2 basis? And then when I start to advance my own home electrification, will that piece? They need to then look at compatibility with those technologies for other sources of energy, specifically solar, as you're looking to offset use and time, and then the integration into storage in. All of those will have an impact. It all comes back to the infrastructure of the home and the utility electrical infrastructure.
For sure. So we here at Schneider have seen this as an opportunity to innovate a little the energy of homes. So we've created the Schneider Home Energy Management System, which is an all-in-one system that includes electric vehicle charging, smart home technology, and reliable energy integration. And what I really like most about it is it's all streamlined in one user experience. I don't know how many of us are tired of having 20 different apps to control the different devices in our home. So with that, how do you see the potential for EVs to turn homes into energy hubs, and what cost savings could consumers see?
Yeah, that's a great point, and we're excited about that technology. At Chimera, we've always been supportive of broad electrification. We think that really the way that leads to electrification is through the garage, and through that charging, which leads to that electrical panel upgrade. Let's talk a little bit about cost, though, because the importance of these technologies is just year over year from 2022 to 2023, we've seen approximately a 15% increase in energy costs. And so when you buy an EV, and this is one of the areas that we really ask folks to learn, when you buy an EV, you'll see your individual home energy usage increase as much as 35%. So now you have an increased usage and you have increased rates. And now with broader electrification, controlling those costs becomes critical. And so you're going to want to look at solutions like Schneider's to be able to manage that load. That means using your electricity from the utility at the time where your peak demands are lowest and your energy is the least expensive. It also means controlling when you're using your solar or when you're drawing in from a storage standpoint. So these solutions become critical to the electrification journey, all of which is Chimera has been committed to from the start.
Very cool. So I'm from a quite wooded area of the Northeast, and we are definitely used to having power outages, right?
Sure.
Anytime a big storm rolls through. I have a gas generator, like most people do in the area. What would be some benefits of me buying an EV and switching to the Schneider Home Energy Management System?
Yeah, that's a great question because where I'm from, we have more utility challenges, right? And so grid constraints, so we use terms like rolling brownouts and requirements that utilities will try to scale back. And so generators have always been historically a great resource and a backup from that. But as you see the technologies increase and use of solutions like Schneider's combined with the vehicles, your vehicle itself becomes an energy source. And so whether it's in an electrical storm where you can access the power from your vehicle and pull that back into your home, or whether it's just during periods of time where the utility is challenged and needs to slow down its consumption or its production for its users, the ability to access your vehicle now becomes a priority. And it saves both from a utility standpoint, circumstances like yours, if you have an outage, you're using an asset that you use every day now in your vehicle.
Awesome. So one last question for you. What do you see as the technology advances in this space? What are you most excited for?
Well, if you even look at the last few years, you're seeing the expansion. Some of the technologies, the most obvious that we see trending, and we talked a little bit about it, Rachel, was bidirectional. So this is a real game changer when your controls at your home as well as commercial are taking energy back and forth from the vehicles. It's a game changer when we start talking about utility infrastructure and the ability to provide the ability for a fleet of vehicles to take the remaining power and put it into a building to offset peak demand in the afternoon, or a bidirectional technology at a residence is a real game changer. We'll also continue to see battery technology change. If you follow the development of these vehicles, you'll see that the range continues to increase, which is great. That reduces the concerns that our customers have as it relates. And you know, it's controversial, but we continue to see autonomous technologies expand. And I think you'll continue to see that as these technologies go through. I think the home energy is a logical one, and that just ties the whole vehicle into the entire infrastructure.
Awesome. So definitely very exciting things to come. Thank you for your insights today, and thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to come up to Tom or I afterwards. We can answer them, or we'll find someone else here who has better ideas than we do.
That probably won't be that hard to do, right? But thank you, Rachel, and thank you all.